eventually pleaded guilty to the murder of Marshall University student Samantha Burns, who was 19 when she was kidnapped and killed.
2 weeks ago, the Q Center received another map from folks of the area. The convicted killer says that he and Brandon Basham buried their first victim, West Virginia College student Samantha Burns.
Growing up with Chad Folks, I knew Chad at 5 to 6 years old. My mother Ennis Tomlin moved us kids to GA to TX. We moved back when I was 11, my grandpa was dying and my mom took care of her father. Seeing Chad and his family, there was always something going on, either police being called or Chad, Ronnie, and Dwayne was hungry. Yes, they were abused and we didn't have the perfect family either. That's another story. My granny fed the whole neighborhood. She was so kind and loving. R.I.P. Chad was always a bully and he always talked to me and my family, my brother Larry, my cousins, they always hung out, always getting into trouble. We were close to Chad Folks and his family. Prior to Chad, Veronica, and Lil Miles coming to my granny's home. 2002. We saw a very nice car pull down the hill. We always had company at my granny's on Park St. Huntington, West Virginia. Chad gets out in a suit, then his wife and the lil boy Miles got out. Chad was doing his thing. I thought. He and his family visited for a few hours, we all laughed and talked. We ate what my granny cooked. We were bragging on Chad because we all thought he got his life together. They left, we said our goodbyes, and Chad wanted weed and he did get it. November 2002. Chad Folks and Tommy Blake, known now as Brandon Basham. If you remember, they introduced Brandon Basham to Beth as Tommy Blake. That day was a good day at first. I knew I could party since my mom was coming to get my girls, because me and Stacy Thacker always went just to have fun, girls' night out as we called it. I got up, cleaned my house, and got the girls' stuff ready to go to mom's. Well, my doorbell was ringing. I thought it was Stacy. Well, I opened the door. I didn't know the guy standing there looking at me. He asks, "Are you Beth?" I said, "Yeah." I looked out my door. I seen Chad in a blue BMW. I smiled and said, "Come in." Well, we all came in, me, Chad, Tommy, known as Brandon Basham. Chad was standing by my washer and dryer. My mom came in and seen Chad and Brandon. She was upset because she knew I was going to party. We had words and left. Going into my living room, he asks, "Beth, can you get some meth?" I said, "No, Chad, I don't mess around with that stuff and I don't know anyone who does." I said, "Hey, can I get some powder, coke?" I called my best friend and she told me all that was going around right now was hard rock. I told Chad, he agreed, so we drove up not even a block and a half to my best friend's house. I got the dope after Chad gave me the money. So we headed to my house. Stacy was in the car now, BMW, and we went back to my house. We played cards, smoked crack, and I was single, so yes, I had my eyes on Tommy, Brandon Basham. We talked about me and Chad growing up, drank beer and got high. Chad and Brandon would leave. Let me remind you, none of this was on the news, not them breaking out of jail, not their crime spree in other states. Nothing. That's why I let them in my home. We drove to Guyandot to meet the dope man. We picked up dope, crack. There were many times throughout that day then the dope man was coming to me, at my home. Chad and Brandon kept asking me and my best friend to go to this bike rally in Arizona. We both said no. We continued to get high. I slept with Brandon 3 times and my best friend had no interest in Chad because she had a boyfriend at that time. Chad told me, "Beth, we will be heading out later." So I got more dope. He gave me half to share. As I said, they would leave during the time they were at my house for about 1 to 2 hours at a time. Chad left once by himself. That's when Brandon grabbed me by my shoulders and said, "I have to tell you something." By the time he said that, Chad busted open my bathroom door. We didn't hear him come in. Brandon and I just got out of the shower. Chad looked at Brandon. "Tommy," he said, "let's go now. They asked if I want to go to that bike rally in Arizona." I said, "No, Chad, my mom would kill me." So they left. I had friends over, we were getting high, and next thing I know, a loud bang at my door. I had a doorbell. So we ran to open the door, Stacy and I. It was Chad. I asked him, "Where is Tommy?" Chad said, Beth, he lied to you, he has a girlfriend. I was hurt and confused as well, but I was like okay and got high. Everyone was in my house by now and we were drinking, smoking, and just getting high. Well, I remember the news was about to come on, we were sitting there, the news came on. Breaking news: a shootout with cops in Ashland, Kentucky. I saw Tommy, I started to hit my friend's leg stating he was just here. Chad said calm down. His girlfriend got mad and called the law because he left her. Brandon and Chad did wash clothes at my house and Brandon had a ring around a necklace with a heart-shaped ring on it. He did give that ring to me. It wouldn't fit so I put it under my pillow. By then everyone left, it was just me and Chad. We sat on my couch, I asked him, what's going on? He didn't say nothing. He had 2 knives in his hands, like he was sharpening them and he kept doing that. He put the knives down and looked at me. He said, Beth, swear to me if the law comes here, you tell them I was never here. I made that swear to him. He said, Beth, I'm heading out when it gets daylight. I said, okay man. So we continued to smoke crack. I was sick and laying in my floor telling him I'm done man. My mom was going to be here with my girls, I have to come down man. He started to beg me to go to that bike rally in Arizona. I told him no because of my kids, my job, and I couldn't just pick up and leave. He started asking to get more dope. It was early and no one would answer their phone. I stated I'm done and I don't want no more. Chad kept asking to get more crack. I finally agreed and went to the T and got a $20 piece for him. I didn't want any because of my mom. I had to come down. We went to McDonald's and got something to eat. I got a large Coke. I told Chad to take me home. He again asked me to go to that damn bike rally in Arizona. I was getting upset by this time because I've told Chad and Brandon many times no. I can't because of my kids, my job, so he took me home. As I was getting out of the BMW, I said bye and he said bye. I went into my house and laid on the couch. When I got up, looked under my pillow, the heart-shaped ring was gone. So went back to my living room, sat down, and by this time my mom was coming through the door. My girls ran to me and hugged me. My mom knew I was high, we had words and she left. I felt guilty because I was high looking at my kids. I lit a cigarette and fixed the girls' breakfast. The news was about to come on. I looked up to see Tommy and Chad's face. Breaking news that they was being questions about Samantha Burns' disappearance. I flipped out and began yelling, running, pulling my hair out and called the police. The next thing I know, every law enforcement was at my home. I was on lockdown at my granny's, phones were tapped and I was told not to leave until Chad was caught. I was a star witness at both trials. On the gun that Basham had, BMW, what was in the BMW, and how I had sex with Brandon. I was already on probation. I was arrested in February 2003 and found out I was pregnant. Thank God my son was a healthy 8 pounds even, wasn't no drugs in his system, it was hell. I've learned over the years that why the parole board turned my parole down, not over my real charge, but because I had Chad and Brandon in my home. 4 times they turned down. I finally got out in 2008, did 5 years for forgery of a credit card. I've done everything the FBI has asked. I passed lie detectors tests and FBI didn't believe me because of Chad's statements that I helped dump Samantha Burns. I didn't even know what they had done. Well, I was offered immunity. I did not take that because I didn't know anything about what they'd done, or about their crime spree. I had nothing to hide and didn't help anyone move or dump Samantha Burns' body. I've helped for 15 years with the FBI, answered all questions and still helping until the day I die.
So that is her story. If you want to hear the interview in her own actual words, by her voice, that is episode 107 to 108. I know it was in 2020. It's been forever ago. I want to say it was well over an hour and a half, 2-hour long interview. But this story that is the AI voice of her story was from when there was a blow up about Samantha being buried in Ohio. That will be explained later on, and most people remember it was the whole Jimmy thing going on. and Beth had wrote her story online, and this was basically her signing off on it of what happened. And like I said, another podcast had done a series on Samantha, and they tried to get her to do an interview with them. She would only do one with me. And like I said, it's episode 107 to 108 if you'd like to give that one a listen to.